last 2 years. And I will say there's been some excellent discussion, sharing of ideas between communities, whether it's downtown land use strategies in Gary, or housing, resident housing programs being implemented in East Chicago, corridor improvements in Valparaiso or lakefront improvement projects in Hammond or Whiting. There certainly is a lot going on in Northwest Indiana, and certainly a lot I have been able to learn perspectives from land use by chairing this committee. So we encourage more commissioners to attend. We are trying to grow the attendance to this committee. Secondly, the committee heard a very excellent presentation on green alleys. DNR coastal programmer Sergio Mendoza presented green alley project examples from the Chicago Green Alley Handbook and the Green River Pattern Book. The green alley was set as the highest priority by the 2014 coastal program in terms of priorities. And I know I was enlightened by this concept of green alleys, leveraging extremely efficient urban pathways in cities and making them more safe, higher quality of life, and certainly improving public access. So I think it's an excellent opportunity. Several communities really saw alleys that could be leveraged in their urban downtowns and neighborhoods as well. A couple more items. The committee heard presentations on the update of livable centers by NERC and creating livable communities, the CLC funding program by NERC. We reviewed the CLC program draft application that included eligible applicants, project eligibility, and the evaluation criteria. This round of funding is from STP Funding Group 1 and is for Lake and Porter counties. And they are for planning projects that revitalize existing centers, neighborhoods, downtowns, transit stops, or transit corridors. Finally, a local communities update. There was a federal partnership for sustainable communities event held in Gary at the Genesis Center on July 19th. City officials and stakeholders met, discussed their visions for 4 Gary neighborhoods: Horace Mann, downtown, Emerson, Etna, and Miller. And there's also a tour. And that will conclude my report unless there's any questions.
Any questions of the chair for land use? Thank you for your report. Thank you. Legislative Committee, Mayor Tom McDermott.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Legislative Committee held their first meeting a few weeks ago at the NERC quarters. We met with the old chairman and talked about a lot of the issues that we want to cover for the legislative year coming up in 2014. We talked about a few of the federal issues, but a lot of those issues are largely beyond our control. Not that we wouldn't have input into it, but the state issues, some of the issues that came up, the future of the RDA, which is, I think only a couple of years remaining in the RDA's original 10-year charter, and obviously we have to have input as a body into that. Ileana Toll Road, other issues that came up, Marquette. The Legislative Committee has been really successful in the past with issues like the Shoreline Development Commission and other issues like that. And all the people sitting around this table are very talented, know a lot of people that have a lot of influence in the State House. So our next meeting is tomorrow at 1:30, right here at NERC headquarters. If you want to have input and help us, the more involved in the legislative effort, the easier it is to affect legislation downstate. So if you please stop by tomorrow at 1:30, right here at NERC headquarters. We're having the legislative committee meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions from the commissioners? Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, could Representative Soliday tell us about the visits by the legislature up in Northwest Indiana in September?
I can tell you a little about it. Representative Brown had proposed that we do something, reinstate something that's happened in the past. So money has been raised. There will be opportunities for legislators to visit the steel mills, to visit the South Shore, to visit some of the communities. A number of the mayors are going to be speaking to the legislators I think it's an excellent opportunity to put our best foot forward. It's also an excellent opportunity to put our worst foot forward. So a lot of us believe in the region, but many times in the State House, there are folks who hold opinions about us that have never been here. So this is an opportunity to bring them here, for all of us as public officials to interact with them and to show them that this is an excellent community and a great place to live. So I would just encourage you all to participate. It's the weekend of the 12th, 13th, and 14th. I have moved my first summer study committee meeting to the 12th, where we'll be considering two issues that are near and dear to the hearts of all of us. How many ports shall we have on Lake Michigan? And what is we currently have no transit-oriented development policy at NICD, none. And it is one of the most effective tools in the nation to renew declining neighborhoods. So we're going to be taking a very close look at the roles of TOD and in our community, and we're trying to do a very comprehensive hearing. We brought in a lot of experts, but bringing a meaningful hearing from Indianapolis up here is part of attracting legislators to come and see our region.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Soliday reminded me, also the bill that was floated last year, went to summer study about the composition of the NICD board is something that this body's got to have influence on as well. I personally thought the changes were well warranted last year, but sort of got gummed up, but I appreciate Representative for reminding me that that's a major issue that we're gonna have to take a position on for sure to help give Representative Soliday some support downstate. So
Mr. Chairman.
thank you for bringing that up.
Mr. Chairman, I do want to note though that NICD has partnered with the RDA in studying TOD and the future of transportation in the South Shore train. I feel, you know, we do need to have some input in the composition of NICD, but I think it's working just fine the way it is. I think it has equal representation of the counties, the same that we have here. And I don't believe in a majority of one county or another.
If I could add one thing to what Representative Soliday said, as of yesterday, we have 60 non-Northwest Indiana legislators signed up to come, so we're hoping we'll have a good attendance in the process.
Mr. Chair, just a brief comment on the topic of transit-oriented development that pertains to a project in Michigan City. After several years of analyzing the location of the South Shore Station in Michigan City, the city and NICD, through a partnership of a Tiger II grant, recently came to a consensus to look at a new downtown station in the existing 10th and 11th Street corridor. One of the main reasons for that consensus, especially from the city's perspective, was leveraging a very powerful concept called transit-oriented development. So that has been a huge project in Michigan City. It's something that we've finally been able to come to the consensus with the railroad on, that we can revitalize our downtown centers with transit to the Chicago metropolitan area and South Bend and every community between.
Thanks, Mayor. Any other comments? Thank you. We'll go right to MnDOT and
Mayor Durant, in the interest of time, we'll yield our position this time.
are there any specific comments, questions by the commissioners of MnDOT that you want to bring up to the table?
Mary, you're right. Since it's a full commission, I seem to ask this every few months. What's the status of the Pine Avenue Bridge right now? I keep getting asked by my constituents when that's going to open.
I would yield to Mayor Copeland, since that is now a issue.
The last I heard from Ms. Vick, it was just the completion of the last permits. The land transfer swap has happened.
So it's everything's on schedule.
All the paperwork has been signed. Just waiting on Ms. Vick.
You know, like a projected date, Mayor Copeland? I mean, I'm literally, so I can tell my constituents.
No, I wish I could tell you that, but I don't have it.
Thank you, sir.
Any other business that needs to come in front of the commission?
Cedar Lake is having a parade of lights November 23rd, and I am requesting maybe 3 members of the commission that would like to come down there and judge the floats. So if you're interested with that, see me after the meeting.
That's the Friday following the Thanksgiving.
It's a Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Saturday before Thanksgiving.
You want us to make nominations?
Something to put on your resume.
So you get free dinner at the White House restaurant?
Maybe Sandbar.
Okay, we'll open up to public comment. Yes, sir.
My name is George Malice. I'm
Excuse me, could you give a microphone? Thank
Got
you.
one coming.
Thank you.
My name is George Malice. I'm on the board of the Sierra Club Duneland Group. We represent 6 counties in northwest Indiana, including Lake, Porter, and the 4 counties. We have submitted to this board a resolution opposing the Ileana Toll Road, and we oppose it for a variety of environmental and social issues. We hope that you have received and read our resolution, and that you in fact support the no-build option. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll keep my comment brief. First of all, let me thank you, and I agree that there are many talented people here, and many people with great intentions. And what we'd like to do, what I'd like to do on behalf of Everybody Counts, my name is Roy Dominguez, I'm a member of Everybody Counts, I'm a board member there. And I want to thank Gary for his report, and also the ad hoc committee, Mayor Copeland, and the entire committee for your time. And you're right, it was intended to be 2 meetings, and we ended up doing 5, and we had a great meeting. That's what meetings are about. We were able to give and take. However, I must say that the document that was distributed today was not on the table. So we don't know, Mayor Copeland, what is it that the final product that you all, or the staff, came together so that we could have even reviewed it. We were part of the committee, and when you have the final document, and I don't mean you, Mr. Mayor, I just mean that we didn't see it, we didn't have it. And I don't know why, and that's been one of our things as far as our communication, but first and foremost, we believe that a bus transportation system is necessary, and it's important, and we're nowhere closer to that. And we want the discussion to continue. We want the discussion to start. It is a civil rights matter for our people, for our constituents. This is the way they get around. This is the way they live. This is what they want, and we don't see that any closer. In fact, I would submit that we're further behind than what we were 20 years ago. But nonetheless, we'd like to have that. In terms of the deficiency and infirmities in what you passed today, subject to a condition precedent that your lawyer says that it's okay, so that we understand it, so that we can take it back to our lawyer, Mr. Chairman, is that it has not been passed, it has not been approved. And until you get that notice, we'd like to be noticed too, because that consent decree, we are part of that consent decree, whether we or our legal counsel is notified of your final determination, we would appreciate it. Also, you should know that at the Maryville open house, there were 4 members of the general public. 4 members, 4 people. You can get more than 4 people at any open house. The East Chicago open house, you should know, all the board members, you should know, in terms of members of the public, there was 1. There was 1 person. You can get more than half, less than half a dozen, more than 1 at any open house. That is not a meeting, that is not public information. We have asked for months. How about your contact list? We'd like to see who your contact. Did you know they didn't have a contact list? Ty Warner, I'm sure you received my letter, gave us a hodgepodge of lists. It wasn't even computerized. It was just put together, and that's what they're going to work on. They're going to work on putting together a contact list for public participation. But which one comes first? You're going to contact the public, or you're going to have a meeting so that one person shows up. You're going to have another meeting so 4 people show up, and then we're going to develop a contact list. So those are the things that we're concerned about. Those are the things that we will be considering when we talk to our legal counsel. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to say the word. Is that a comment or a question?
That was a comment. I just made a comment.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
My name is Joseph Cunningham. I live in Gary, Indiana, and I'm a graduate of Roosevelt High School. I've lived in Gary all of my life. I have 2 children and a wife, young children. So I'm invested in Gary, Indiana, and in Lake County. My comment is, why isn't it in the newspaper? Why isn't it written in the newspaper when you have these meetings? Why isn't the general public notified? The other thing is, you have your meetings way out here in, what's this city? Portage? Portage? Okay. The people that benefit from the transit system are poor people. People who can't get out here because they don't have the transportation to get out here to Portage. Even your meetings, your public meetings that are held should be held in an area where the people who are most disenfranchised can reach by bus, by transit. And it should be put in the papers notifying the poor and the people who are concerned about their city but don't have a voice to speak up. So I'm thinking some changes should be made, and should be made quickly. Now, as far as the not knowing about the 30-day notice, this gentleman has been your lawyer for I don't know how long. And if he doesn't know that, then you need to get a new lawyer. No problem. So I'm just saying, some major changes need to be made to include the people who are poor, people who are handicapped, the disabled, and the people who are disenfranchised. The ones that you say you're working so hard for. Let us have our voice. Let us be heard. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Junior Wacky. I'm resident of the city of Gary. I've always been enthusiastic about the improvement project on Route 20. Had great hopes that the initial plans, initially it was going to be all ground down. There were going to be improvements on the sidewalks. It was going to be quite a respectable improvement in Northwest Indiana. I've been before this board a couple of times expressing my disappointment about the results of that. Last week I made some comments regarding the problems with the sidewalks, and it's been an ongoing problem. I'm happy to report that the sidewalks that have been installed over the last 45 days are a remarkable improvement over the sidewalks that had been installed the previous 45 or 60 days. So I'm grateful that the comments that I had made were on line with the aspirations of the state, and they had made those changes in the way the sidewalks were installed. Some of them were completely redone, as a matter of fact, and I'm grateful for that. Regarding my comments, though, and I made in my public comments, there was a comment made by the commissioner representing our city regarding my insistence that the sidewalks be put in properly, and that commissioner responded according to the minutes that road projects with pedestrian improvements are not required. Of course, that is in direct contradiction for almost everything I ever hear at these meetings, including our Representative Soliday, who says, you know, we have to have a policy regarding transportation-oriented development, and transportation-oriented development requires sidewalks. You cannot have livable cities without sidewalks that are properly and suitably installed. And when you've got a road project that goes right through the center of the second largest city in Lake County, you have to question who is making these decisions that sidewalks, pedestrian improvements are not required. I noticed in one of the documents that there are 540 projects that NERC was looking at. Only 10% of those were pedestrian or bicycle projects. And we want to give everyone an award for doing a good job, but it's sort of like giving Captain Andrews, and you remember Captain Andrews, he was the captain of the Titanic, an award for successfully getting the Titanic through 90% of the North Atlantic. It's ridiculous. The project needs to be successful. The road looks great, and if you've driven on it, it's a wonderful improvement. But I have to say that the sidewalks that were not that were part of the initial installation are still a disaster, and I would just take a little exception when the representative, our commissioner representing our city, says that pedestrian improvements are not required. I think that's wrong, and I think the commission has to overlook those comments and insist that pedestrian improvements are part of these projects. I'm going to throw out there that we really need sidewalks along Route 20, particularly between Utah Street and Lake Street. It's part of the transportation-oriented development that you're talking about. You have hundreds of people a day walking between the apartment complexes, the shopping opportunities, and there are no sidewalks. They have to compete with traffic, and I think that's just and all we really need is a 6-foot sidewalk from Utah Street to Lake Street. And I'm hoping that you'll put that maybe the commission can look at that, perhaps over the objection to the commissioner representing our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Renee Jackson Gary, member of the ad hoc committee. And I would like to thank the members of the commission that was part of that committee. I enjoyed working with you. I think that we started a very good dialogue that opened the door to understanding some of our concerns and future dialogue that we can, start and get into. My concern is that I'm disappointed that after dragging my poor weary body here morning after morning, I do not have a copy of what we accomplished. You pass around a document that I have no idea what is on it, and I think that's a little unfair, so that is my concern.
If I can respond to that, either way, I just received that document this morning from Mayor Copeland, so it just came to me as chairman, where we're reviewing that document, and when we are prepared to take that work product and disseminate it, your group, everybody will have an opportunity to see that. We just received it here this morning, so I'm 10 minutes ahead of you. That's about all. I just received the document myself.
Thank you. And again, that is the reason why I felt, just due respect, the chairman gave me the task, and that he should be the last to look at it, because we did serve at his pleasure, and it will be enacted the way that he sees fit. So I didn't see a way to give somebody that without his eyes using it. Okay.
Teresa Torres. I would echo all of the positive remarks that were made about the efforts that were undertaken by the volunteer members of the ad hoc committee. However, I have this audio loop on, but it only works when people use the microphone. I'm not certain what actions you took with respect to two things. One has to do with your report that was submitted. I don't know if it was voted upon and received. Secondly, the public participation plan itself, that, as you say, Mayor, I understand why it hasn't gone out, but did you vote on any of these things? Because I'm not clear. Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. That makes it a little better because one of the concerns that we've had is that when documents are discussed at public meetings, they're not available for the members of the public that are here. And everything that I understand about open door law, but certainly I'm not an attorney with billable hours. But everything I understand says that if you're discussing a document, unless it's about a lawsuit or personnel, it should be available for people in the audience to know what you're talking about. If, however, you didn't take action today, then that tempers our concern. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Dudley. I'm an attorney. I'm from Chicago, but
It's on.
She's on? Okay. Oh, hi, I'm Kelly Dudley. I'm an attorney from Chicago. I don't practice here, but I followed Everybody Counts lawsuit from the beginning. I'm a board member of Everybody Counts. And during the whole time that we worked preparing the data that went to the lawyer to form our lawsuit, sending complaints over to NERC, this dates back over 20 years. I was a non-lawyer when I started, and I would meet with the attorneys that Everybody Counts hired at various times. And every time we reviewed a document, I want everybody in this room to know that there was only one attorney identified working for you, and that was David Hollenbeck. There was only one attorney that was ever identified to me as negotiating the consent decree, and that was David Hollenbeck. There was only one attorney that was ever identified to me as who we followed up on when we would have concerns about the implementation and the violation of the consent decree, and that was David Hollenbeck. I have a very big concern that David Hollenbeck doesn't know the terms of the consent decree. I also have a concern that we were told by NERC staff some time ago that they were told by their attorney not to show you all and educate you about the consent decree. Now, you all run cities and towns. You all have business positions. You all have a place to live. You all got up and had something to eat today. So you know how to manage money. You know how to manage people. I strongly urge you to bring those skills to NERC and don't be shy about using them on behalf of your constituents. When we were here for these small meetings, this task force meeting, the NERC staff bungling was an embarrassment to any elected official or any civil servant. They were asked if they had a mailing list. They hedged on it. They were pressed. Oh, yes, we do. Well, can you go get it? Well, it's on Mary's computer, so we can't get it because Mary's not here today. Then later, the very same staff who told us he couldn't access Mary's computer was emailing us from Mary's email account. If that went on in your respective cities and towns, I know that you would do the right thing. And I urge you to take the reins here and start doing the right thing with your hourly employees, your salaried employees, and your contracted employees. Take a look at the skill level and the integrity you're getting for the tax dollars you're spending. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me? Mr. Chairman, you have one behind you.
David Wright, Erie Public Transportation Corporation. I'll be brief and just reiterate our position that the work on approving the plan amendment and the TIP are very important to not only NDOT, but Erie Public Transportation Corporation. There is grant money that could be impacted if there is a delay that continues with the Transportation Improvement Program, and we would just like to make sure that everyone knows in the room that the work on the TIP itself has not ended with that conditional approval, and staff or council has to work with Everybody Counts to make sure that we know what we need to do. Whether or not we need to try to make sure we've got enough money that we don't have to amend our grants, because we don't have a tip right now to apply for a grant. And if it's going to be 60 days, we need to know ASAP. If it's going to be immediate, we need to know ASAP. So please, work with Everybody Counts, get this taken care of, tell us how it's going to be taken care of as quickly as possible. I also very, very quickly wanted to reiterate and support something that another public commenter said. Sidewalks on US 20 in Miller, we're needed. They're needed. They help us out when it comes to picking up passengers. So Clay Street or Utah Street to Lake Street, please let's work on getting some sidewalks there. That's it. Thank you.
My name is Richard Mason. I'm a member of CAS. I do sports, handicap sports, and I live in Chicago. Don't have none in Gary. I live in Maryville. But I have to give this council their props because when I went to RBA council meeting, when they had there, they usually, when public comment, they usually walk out, most of the people walk out before when we try to give public comment. And so you stayed here. So I recommend that's very good. But we still haven't get what we really come for public presentation. We would like for us, but like Gary Cutler, because he's been here for over 100 years, and we really think about it. They have been here since day one, and like they had the RBA. Other transportation, and everybody else have regional transportation. Why Gary can't have our regional transportation for us? Because it's been here over 100 years.
Great.
Where?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Bless everybody else well. First, I'd like to introduce myself. Some of you don't know me. And I'm going to get into the mic. I don't hear myself good as well. I am, by birth, William McCraven Sr. I come from a military background. My dad was a 20-year lifer. I've traveled here and there in my time of growing up. And my dad made a promise that he would come back to Gary, Indiana, this region, which I did not want to come. I was too young to make a decision. Amen. So I've been here for a while, since I think about 17, 18 years old. I just missed that storm you guys had in '67. And since I've been here, when I grew up in different areas, when I was about 5 years old, we lived in Michigan, right outside Mount Clemens area, outside Detroit. I just believe I was about in kindergarten. And I was sitting down and the teacher asked us to take out and color the people on the page, the family. And at that time, some of you know, they had, the Crayola had colors for everything.
Yeah.
Some of you, maybe I'm 63, so I don't know how old everybody else is here.
Yeah.
But they had colors for everything.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, in that pack, they had a color that said flesh color.
I remember that.
Ah, somebody knows where I'm at. They had flesh color. So I've been around a little bit 5 years old seeing different colors of people's skin, but nobody ever made that out to me, you know, about that part of racialism, as they were starting to have integration in this area I was at. So I yet didn't know too much about the segregated part of my life yet. So at this point, I'm doing as everybody else was doing. We all asked the color to make families and that. So I kept making families that were brown. I had heard it was supposed to be red people, so I made red people, yellow people. And I'm making all these different colored people. And when I got to one group, I took out the white crayon and I made white people. My teacher came to me and said, "Hey, where's my people at?" She was European, American. And I said, "Right there." And she says, "No, where's my people? You know, there's a color in the box for my people." I said, "No, you're white people." So I've been hearing the same old song all my life, since I've been born. It's the same old song. Whether, if you're a minority, whatever you are, you still hear the same song. You're always made that you don't belong. And here we are, we're in the same, how long ago? Almost 60 years later. I'm in the same space, but in a whole nother different area. Now that I've become, quote, disabled, because I can't see good, which has been in the last few years of my life. Oh, by the way, I've got college education too. I worked in the mill. As a matter of fact, I've even been a professional clown. And I just wonder how many of you guys seen my sign and when I was waving it around. Was anybody paying attention?
Upside down.
Was anybody paying attention to it?
Upside down.
Is it upside down?
Yes.
Well, does anybody in nursing, did anybody in nursing or anybody up in front of me, the board? Any board member see that the sign was upside down?
Yes.
Oh, that's another thing. I thought you were going to say shake your head. Now, is that polite? You're talking about etiquettes and everything is. I can't see you shake your head. I hear people all day say, right over here. I can't see right over here. I got a red cane, I'm tapping it. Take me down 4 hours down there so I can get some deodorant or some hair this or whatever else I need to get. And people are saying, go 4 hours down to the right and 2 hours to the left and then look up. Can you imagine that you had to live there for 5 minutes? And then when it comes to transportation, before I drove all over the place, people see me all over the place. I lived when I was young from 19 to 24, East Chicago, Hammond, Gary. I've lived in Crown Point. I've lived in Ross Township now. I've lived some all over the place here. And I drove some all over the place. And I got it treated all different kind of ways wherever I live. But that's not what I'm here for today. I'm here to let people know. People labelize people. We're not all the same. There's somebody here from Munster, Cherville, Valparaiso, Gary, East Chicago, Hammond, and etc. And everybody here, just because you get labeled everybody in Munster is not a doctor. Are they shaking their heads?
No, they're just kind of sitting over there.
Oh, so somebody is listening to me? They're listening to me. Can I get a hand? They're listening to me. Somebody's actually listening to me. Most of my life, people don't listen to me. And I talk enough for somebody ought to hear me once in a while. But it seems like nobody listens to me. So this fits what I felt like. I felt like I'm stereotyped. I felt like because I'm disabled, I had to have a shirt made. Perfectly had this shirt made just for this idea. It said, I may have lost my sight, but I didn't lose my mind. And people looked at it and said, what are you talking? Because I go to the store and I ask something, they start thinking like, quote, that a word I don't even like to hear people say, read with tard in it. It's right here, and it's